Fire!
We are fighting a war of attrition, in that we kill in self-defense, as long as they are going to come and fight with us.
Major Khaled is a commander of the Mukti Forge, the freedom fighters who've been fighting the West Pakistan Army for the past 3 months. World in Action went into Bangladesh or East Pakistan to find out how effective they are. The Mukti Forge claimed to have divided East Pakistan into 5 sectors for guerrilla operations, with each sector commanded by Bengali majors of the Pakistan Army who defected after the March massacres. Major Khaled's sector covers the areas around Noakhali, Camilla and part of Sylhet. World in Action producer Vanya Kewley spent 8 days there.
But the only fear is, suppose they come at least 2,000 yards height and they drop somebody here.
Let them drop.
But if they drop, now I'm having 1 mg.
Let them.
So this mg will take.
Let them drop. They will get lost in this area.
Yeah.
The Pakistan government dismissed the guerrillas as a bunch of miscreants and the war as a border skirmish. I was surprised to find a highly organized resistance led by officers with impressive military records. Here Major Khaled briefed Subsector Commander Captain Salek Chaudhry, who before he defected was a staff captain in headquarters Dhaka.
Don't.
Khaled asked us not to film the map nor mention the exact location of the villages and camps we went to, not only for their own security but to protect the villagers from the reprisals by the Pakistan Army. His caution was understandable in view of the overwhelming quantity and sophistication of the Pakistan Army's arsenal. On a preparatory visit to meet Major Khaled before the monsoon really got going, I ran into a major assault. The Pakistan Army were using saber jets, tanks, helicopters and heavy artillery against the guerrillas. Once the rain stops in September, the guerrillas' light guns and mortars could be overcome by the superior weapons of the Pakistan Army. But Major Khaled remains confident. Major Khaled is 35, an officer with the Pakistan Army for 13 years, trained as a commander by the Americans. 8 months ago, he was with the Black Watch in Scotland. When he defected from the Pakistan Army in March, he brought most of his brigade, their Chinese weapons, and even their teacups with him.
And you have heard yourself yesterday, the shelling, the rocketing by the artillery and the aircraft, and then tanks, the other day when you went to Feni. This is not border skirmishes. Border skirmishes means all small arm fire. But here a full-scale war is being conducted by the Pak Army. We intend to make the whole nation the fighting force. And the hardcore being provided by the regular troops, that is the Bengal Tigers. It has its good reputation of being good fighters, and it has fought well.
The hardcore of the Liberation Army are professional soldiers, but thousands of students and peasants are joining them. There is little time for formal training, so they're sent to the front unarmed and untrained with the regular troops to get experience. And if they're lucky, a gun captured from the Pakistan Army. Ishaq, a 19-year-old student, took us with his patrol to inspect several villages. He's said to have killed 56 men.
There was shelling yesterday, and one mortar shell landed here, 3-inch mortar, and it killed a cow, you know. And on that side of the village also, a few civilians were injured by fire from small arms. You see, shelling continues here almost all the time. And you've been very lucky enough not to have any shelling right now.
The guerrillas' lack of arms and ammunition is compensated by their passion for an independent Bangladesh, and their hatred of the West Pakistanis is constantly renewed by the stories that the refugees tell them.
I wish I could take you inside. All the cantonments in Bangladesh are nothing but concentration camps. Hundreds and thousands of girls are kept there as prisoners. They are tortured, they are raped, they are dishonored, and after that they are killing them. You see, all the dead bodies are floating in the rivers.
But this is surely several months ago, not now.
It is going on still now.
Two of my sons I lost there, and my houses has been looted, and my other articles also looted. Everything lost there. Then I found that my life also insecure.
But did your son do anything to the military?
Nothing, did nothing.
Then why did they shoot them?
Their habit is this. Their habit is this. They are murdering. Also, they are murdering. All along they are murdering.
For how long?
Not only my two sons. Many people shooted.
He saw his father, mother, and everybody of the family killed by the Punjabis. And of course his sister, who was about to get married, was kidnapped by the Punjabis and has been taken away. And he heard the story from the other villagers that she has been probably tortured and dragged out of that place brutally and has been taken away. And he was left with no alternative. And now he says, I have nothing to lose in this world. And he decided to join Mukti-Fauj. And he wanted to take the revenge, you see, by killing as many Punjabis or West Pakistanis as possible.
Pakistan government said that there is no trouble inside Pakistan.
No, false. They are false. They are telling everything false. They are lying. They are telling all lies.
Yahya is the initiator of all this. He is the greatest culprit that human civilization can imagine. He's just in the same rank with Hitler and his companions, Eichmann and others.
My life, God knows how I shall pass my life. Now I am loitering either in the dirt, sometime living here, sometime living there. This way I am passing my time. Sometime in the temple, sometime in the road, sometime in the under tree. In this way I am passing my time.
জলে ভাসে আমার দুনয়ন ও আমার জন্মভূমি জননী গো তোমার দুঃখে কাঁদে আমার প্রাণ.
We were not violent in nature. You see, the Bengali has got a very rich culture. Their history and their traditions and their literature. It's the flow of the river without obstruction. It's going, and there is nothing, killing each other or crime or things like that. It's very rare. But only when the unarmed people are attacked by the butchered, and killing and raping and arsoning and burning and rocketing, and so therefore they didn't have any other option but to fight it back. You just take a cat when it cornered, it fights, though it is a very peace-loving animal. Things like that. It had happened with us. We didn't want to fight. We were forced. We are completely pushed to the place where we have to fight, and we will fight. There is no question of it. And people are ready for any sacrifice, and they will die. 1 million had died already. And I think if this thing continues, 5 million will die in war, and about 10 to 15 million will die of starvation. They are living in the panics because the Pak army is still continuing their genocide. And the places where we are there, our people are operating, they're comparatively safe. But again, the type of operation we normally conduct, that we have got to shift the bases from one place to another place. We have got the men, we don't have that many weapons to protect all the areas. Therefore, we have got to shift when the pressure builds up in certain areas. Therefore, we have got to leave the people at the mercy of the Pak army.
ঠিক আছে আসেনি না কালকে আসেনি পরশুদিন আসে নাই
The guerrillas admit that some peasants collaborate with the Pakistan army, and I got the impression that they're dealt with briskly when they're discovered. But there was no doubt that most of the people I saw were united with the guerrillas. Despite the punishment the Pakistan army inflicts when it finds out, the villagers still continue to supply the Mukti Forge with food, shelter and information. We came across the charred remnants of a village. Like most people in Bangladesh, the people who lived here had voted solidly for the Awami League last December. The Awami League wanted East Pakistan to be free from the domination by West Pakistan 1,500 miles away. 98 East Pakistanis out of every 100 voted for them in a democratic election. But the West rulers refused the League's demands and decided to impose its power by force.
What he says is they had first of all voted for Army League, and that was one of their faults. And later on, they have been feeding us the Mukti Forge, and that was their fault. And when they got them unarmed and no Mukti Forge was around, so the Pak army came in and just burnt off the village and killed a few of them. These people who were unarmed and couldn't put up any resistance, Pak army just came and slaughtered them and raped their women, burned the houses, and there are many villages sideways, just like this village.
She says that the Pakistan soldiers came to her hut, dragged out her husband and killed him in front of her. She tried to throw herself onto their bayonets. Suicide is preferable to dishonor to a Bengali woman, but failed. At bayonet point, the soldiers raped her.
There is no one in this world to look after me and my child. What can I do now? Where can I go? I go from door to door, begging people to give me something. I touch people's feet. If anyone is kind enough to give me something to eat, then I eat.
The soldier noticed my father was still breathing slightly. Then jump into the water and hit him in the ribs, chest and forehead. I was watching. I did not shout in case they come and kill me. After that, they took away all our rice and clothes and put them in their motorboat. My father's body was taken away and buried.
The safety of the refugees and the peace of the village was in jeopardy as we left. Throughout the journey, we were rarely out of earshot of the Pakistan shelling. But now it was getting nearer, and as we left, a group of Mukti Forge was being drafted in to try and counter the assault.
People may be thinking that it is a leftist insurgency or few clandestine activity, but I can assure you it is a militant insurgency whereby the people stood against injustice. We are fighting on three fronts. That is political, economic, and military. All these three fights will go simultaneously. Politically, so far, as you have seen, that Yahya regime could not, and I am sure will not, be able to form a government. Even if it succeeds, it will be nothing but bunch of quislings. We are not allowing the communication to be restored. Because in any country, if you want to start the trade, the first thing is communication. We have not allowed him to ply the trains. We have not allowed him to run the roads. Bridges are being blown. This is one aspect of the economy, that is the communication.
Sunday, the 27th of June, 5:15 p.m. Our patrol en route to an act of sabotage. The operation is carefully planned, and there are patrols on both flanks. Our group paused to finalize their plans at a disused railway station on the main line between Chittagong and Camilla.
আরেকটা সেকশন যে পাইলনটা ব্লো অফ করা হবে সেই পাইলনের পিছনে ওখানে আর আরেকটা একদম এইদিকে লেফট সাইড ওই এক্সপ্লোসিভ নিয়ে যে পৌঁছে যাব তারপর সঙ্গে সঙ্গে আমরা সবাই রওনা দিয়ে দেবো হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা তোমার টাস্ক দিচ্ছে বুঝছো তো শোনো ডিস্ট্রিক্ট বোর্ডের রাস্তাটা আছে না রাস্তার ওখানে পজিশন নিয়ে থাকবা
Mandabag railway station, a mile and a half from their objective, a pylon carrying electricity to Camilla. I had no way of knowing how effective the Mukti Forge were being, as I had not been on the other side with the West Pakistanis. But on Saturday, a Times correspondent who is with the other side reported.
The railway running along the frontier from the port of Chittagong through Camilla to Sylhet and serving Dakar en route has been cut for more than 2 months. The main span of a bridge at Feni, south of Camilla, was dynamited expertly and has yet to be repaired. Other road and rail bridges in the area have been put out of use temporarily. Savage reprisals are usually taken by the army against the nearest villages.
We are blowing off this pylon, you see, this double pylon, to disrupt the electricity and telegraphic communication between Comilla and Akhara.
What's the point of that?
The point is, as you have earlier known, that we are playing a psychological warfare, economical and administrative also. So this is from administration point of view. We don't want the administration to function smoothly also. So that was the point, to blow up this pylon.
How often do you blow up pylons and bridges?
We don't blow out very often. The reason is, after all, they are all our own property. And after the country is liberated, we'll all get them back. So it is pointless blowing off all the pylons. It's already time, huh? They have started off with the job, isn't it? Come on. Take it, sir. BSF protection party ওদিকে লাগছে তো তো এই পাইলনটা সেফ তো এদিকে ব্রিজ লাগবে না রেডি আছে অনেক দেরি আছে তাড়াতাড়ি করতে কোন বৃষ্টি আসছে
The pylon was blown on the 27th of June. 13 days later, last Saturday, the Times said,
an electric power pylon was sabotaged so that Camilla was without electricity for some days. The supply has now been restored.
Captain, could you describe the fighting in your sector?
In my sector, it's just like fighting any other war.
What do you mean?
I know you are convinced, or probably you foreigners especially, you have been hearing a lot of news and propaganda by the Pakistan radio that it's just a border skirmish. But yesterday you have seen, you went with myself and you saw this 5mm howitzer, 25-pounder and 120mm mortars. They are all landing. In border skirmish you don't have that. And probably with that telescopic lens you might have seen some Pakistani troops also. Their bunkers deployed. And we are fighting a regular warfare. How can you call it a border skirmish? And I wish you go back and you explain to people this is a full-fledged war. And we are just holding in this base and we go and we play hell into them. I go inside, right inside, I go behind them, I go on their side, I go anywhere I feel like. I kill them.
Captain, it's now 3 months since the fighting started. Yes. You've been existing on the ammunition and the weapons you brought out with you.
Right.
How much longer can this continue?
Well, it will continue as long as we have the resources and as long as we carry on capturing their ammunition. And of course, we expect that some country will come to our aid. At least you have come, you have seen how the fighting is going on. Well, if somebody comes to our aid, only thing that we need is arms and ammunition. Arms we have to maintain them, but we need some heavy weapons and ammunition. If that is the thing we get, then there is no problem, we can continue fighting. And if we don't get anything at all, well, you know the condition, what is happening in Sudan. They don't have any arms and ammunition, they are fighting. They're fighting with sticks, they are adopting different tactics. So that's what we are going to do.
But Captain, about you personally, I mean, what about your family?
But my family, in fact, I don't know what is happening to them. I have given up because I have seen the fate of other families. When an officer has deserted and joined this Mukti Fauj, what happened to their families? They were all captured as prisoners and kept in the cantonment, and I don't know what has been done. So knowing all this, I ran away. You see? So I gave up. I just thought about God, whatever God does, and that's all. And I left. So I have no right to think about them, you see. Since I have sacrificed them, so how can I think about them now?
Another base camp deep in the jungle. Major Khaled debriefs his officers and plans further operations. As most refugees from the war are Hindu and the West Pakistan Army is Muslim, there is a danger that people might think that this is a religious war. But every one of these guerrillas, in fact every Mukti-Fauj soldier I met, was a Muslim. In spite of incessant Pakistan allegations that India is arming the Mukti-Fauj, supplying troops and expert saboteurs, I saw no Indian troops nor one piece of Indian equipment inside Bangladesh. In any case, the guerrillas seemed quite capable of sabotage themselves. There is no doubt that the guerrillas are receiving sanctuary from the Indians. They cross the border to rest and maneuver their positions. But that, as far as I could see in the area I was in, is the limit of Indian help. The Pakistanis complain that they are being mortared and shelled by Indian guns across the border. The only shells I saw crossing the border were going the other way, from Pakistan guns. And the only mortars I saw fired against Pakistan army positions were plainly fired by the Mukti-Fauj from positions clearly inside Bangladesh.
Into their position. And right in between their positions, so then they're sort of doing more.
Fire! Fire! Ready?
বাঁদিকে 200 গজ যান আর উপরে 200 গজ
একটা নিচে পড়ছে একটা আগে গেছে এতে রেড ফায়ার বাউল মিলে একসাথে হ্যাঁ ফায়ার
সেন্টার সেন্টার
একটা কথা বলছিলেন তো আমি দুইটা বার করে দিছি আমি বার করে দিছি এখন আমাকে আবার বলেন কারেকশন দেন এখন ঠিক হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ বিলকুল ঠিক আছে বিলকুল ঠিক আছে রেডি ফায়ার রেডি ফায়ার বাবল রেডি
But the only thing which I am worried about, that is the protraction of this war, you know. As long as the war is continued for years and years and years, what is going to happen is the misery of the people. Misery in the sense that there will be a lot of killing, crossfire, the civilian will come into between the freedom fighters. Not that we are very much bothered for such sacrifice, and people are ready to give it. I have seen wherever there is or we catch the enemy in an ambush, and the immediate reaction of the enemy is to burn the villages and kill the people of that area, rape the girls. But after that effect, initially we were afraid that the people will just desert us and they will think that this is a menace. But to the contrary, I have found out that they still want that we should go in action, even if they have to sacrifice everything. I have been told even by the people to the extent that let there be nobody in Bangladesh, they cannot take the soil out of our country. Soil, let the soil remain. We must continue the action. Therefore the war will go on.